Got it.
What's
Perfect.
up? Welcome back, shitbags. Thank you all for tuning in.
Tune in, episode 61.
Thank you guys so much for watching, for listening, wherever you guys are. As always, huge thank you to our sponsors: Crew First, Toxic Compression, Taylor's Tins, Jobtown Graphics. Go and show them all some love. Wouldn't be here, wouldn't have started all of this without any of them. So just so grateful as always. Also, huge thank you, huge shout out, Hazmat guys, Command Media Network. Keep tuning into that stuff. It's going to just take this podcast to the next level, and we are extremely excited and really honored to have that opportunity. So without further ado, let's bring in the man of the hour, because you guys actually sent in questions for him. So pat yourself on the back for that. And let's bring him in. So welcome, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
It's good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you go ahead and give a quick introduction about yourself?
Jeff Weffelmeyer. I work for the St. Louis Fire Department. I've worked there coming on 17 years. Prior to that, I was in like the suburbs, started as a junior volunteer, and then part-time firefighter outside St. Louis County area. Currently a captain of Truck 4 on the C shift.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to come along. We talked about before the episode, but you're on the lake. Looks awesome out there. So we'll get the episode going so you can get back to fishing and enjoying it, because that's the most important things about life. So
yeah, as much as we all love the job, it's good to be off sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's kind of one of the best parts about the job is the off time that we get. So any weekday can feel like a weekend is what I always say.
Although I'm getting to the point now that I got a few days left that I'm like, it's time to go back to work yet. So,
yep. Oh yeah. Right at the end. It's always good to go back.
I guess they say that's when you're ready to retire, when you don't want to go back after your vacation.
That's true. The first question that we have for you was sent in by Jared. And the question is, what made you choose the St. Louis Fire Department route?
I come from a long line of firefighters in my family. My dad was a deputy chief in St. Louis County. My brother's assistant chief currently in St. Louis County. All my cousins, uncles. So I kind of always wanted to do something different. There's two reasons. That being the first, I worked at some of the same departments as my brother, which was awesome, but I watched him promote or get the assignment he wanted, and it was always, it's because his dad was the chief at Fenton, or his family's connected. So I kind of wanted to make my own name for myself. Why I chose a bigger city. I have a friend and mentor who he's long retired now. He's in his 80s, but he kind of took me under his wing when I started, and he was a auxiliary when he was in the Navy for the FDNY. So he was kind of FDNY buff, and he had all these documentaries from the warriors of the rescue companies, 1 or 2 and 3, going to fire after fire after fire, and they walk through rescues with the doors open. And I'm like, man, I want to do that. What's that? And I started researching it, and there's only, since the county's added a couple, but at the time I started, there was only 2 places in Missouri that you could go ride a heavy rescue full time, and that was St. Louis and Kansas City. So I'm like, I'm going there. I'm going to do that. And I was able to pull that off. So that's
Awesome.
That's the 2, I guess, a guy named Bill Johnson and, my dad and my family. It's the reason I work for St. Louis.
Awesome.
Nice, man.
It's always chasing the rescue. That's what everyone wants to do.
Yep.
My mom hated it. Why don't you stay in the county and make more money? But, the job's about more than money to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Next question that we have, we're going to jump into the kind of truck culture / Quint culture that St. Louis started and transitioned from. So what is your opinion on Quints, and how can they be best utilized in just the modern fire service?
Well, the true Quint concept for a large department uh, is pretty much, I think, a failure, because all the bigger departments, I think it was us and Richmond, Virginia, I believe, have all switched back or are in the process of switching back. With that being said, well, I don't like it in a big city environment. I understand the point. I mean, there's a lot of places that don't have the resources that a St. Louis has, just like we don't have the resources of FDNY or Chicago. And to sit there and say one way works for everyone and doesn't work would kind of be ignorant of us. When everyone's operating off the same page, like SOG driven response model, they work okay. The one thing I've noticed from being in the Quints concept my first couple of years to being in transition, we'll call it, the rest of my career, is I think truck work suffers the most when you do a Quint concept. I think it breeds people racing to get first in, because everybody loves the nozzle, right? I mean, I think most of us love truck work, or a lot of us love truck work, but if you could guarantee every fire I go to, we're going to be first in and I'm going to have the nozzle, I would have never promoted or never left an engine company. But that's simply not how it works, you know? So, yeah, I think if you're a smaller department and you don't have the resources or the personnel, I teach for several great companies in Missouri and really all over the country. And there's departments that put as many people on the scene of a fire, the whole duration of the fire, that St. Louis arrives with that many people in one truck, and we have 5 more apparatus coming on a first alarm. And we can get, another 35, 40 firefighters 5 minutes later if we need them. So to say, it's totally bad would kind of be a disservice to the majority of the whole fire service.
Yeah, it definitely takes more training. I mean, so my department, 3 stations, and we run the Quint on kind of our northern side, so that we have a truck that's more available to that northern side. And that's the station I'm out of. And I just got acting engineer on that and did the training. And it changes your, like, how you arrive. Because if we're first in, we're going to be the engine. And then it's a whole, like, that engineer's got to be thinking, am I going to set up as an engine and leave room for our actual truck that's coming from a main station? Or are they going to see if they can find a position that's perfect or works good for an engine and the stick? And it's like just a lot of things to think about, because as they're pulling up, like, okay, I want to get that line in a good spot, but also, oh, hey, can I stop here and leave the turntable and sacrifice the line? Like, it's just, I didn't realize how much goes into it when you're really kind of arriving, especially in that first in, is like what am I? I think that's what people really don't like about the Quint. That's why I say it's the transgender of the fire service, like, because you don't know until you get there, and it just requires a little bit more training, a little more practice on the engineer to just make the decision and stick to it. I mean, and that's the kind of biggest thing that we've seen in that experience when I was learning how to drive that.
Yeah, our drivers are really good. Our truck, we still run them. Right, I'm assigned to one now currently. We have trucks. We obviously have engines. Trucks are 75-foot Quints, and then our hook and ladders, which there's 5 in the city, getting ready to put a 6th in service, actually, are either 125-foot straight sticks or 100-foot buckets. So, like, you'll get at least usually 1 or 2 trucks, depending on where they're at, and one's usually operating as an engine, and then one operates as a truck, and then you'll get a hook and ladder and a rescue squad on a first alarm in addition to the other engines that are coming in. But there are areas of the city or people are on medical runs or companies are in reserves to where you'll end up with, 3 engines and a hook and ladder on the still, before you get the extra companies, or conversely, 3 truck companies that are riding as engines,
Yeah.
So we are still to this day a very arrival based SOG driven department. And if people position appropriately, like you said, which, like I said, most of our drivers are really good at that. We can get our aerial. Like if truck 4 is first, we position to stretch hose line, obviously, but also get our ladder into play most of the time. So once the lines are charged, the driver throws up the stick, or the guy, we train with all the companies around us. So, if the 32s are second, they're in the engine, they know how to operate our truck and they can use our aerial, and they still have most, if not all, the truck tools on their apparatus as well. So coming off the Quint concept and doing it so long, we kind of got it figured out, but
Yeah, absolutely.
It does get confusing to your point sometimes, like what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Like you said, though, I think as long as you got the right SOGs and it's a rival base, I mean, I think that's most of the issues in it is people like to know I'm on a truck, so I'm going to be doing truck shit. I'm on an engine, I'm going to be doing engine shit. Whereas if you're on a Quint and the way that your SOGs are set up, you really don't know until you get there what you're going to be doing. But it's still at that point becomes pretty straightforward. And if you have everything positioned properly, everything set up, like you said, you have the good SOGs. I mean, it works well, and I love that your point that it works well for these smaller, your medium-sized departments. Like we're not going to have all of these things. We're just lucky that we actually have a truck company still as well. Like we have a true truck that's going to come, and so they're going to do truck stuff. But it's that Quint is just basically a supportive unit to just better give us more resources that we otherwise wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, and Missouri specifically, because that's where I'm at, and I spend a lot of time teaching. There are very few actual dedicated single purpose truck companies in the whole state, like probably less than 20, for the whole state of Missouri. So everybody's running a Quint of some type, even our big trucks and most of Kansas City's big truck companies, they still have hose and pumps and stuff like that.
When we have a Quint 2 with 300 gallons on it as a booster tank, and our response plan for that, we have the engine and the truck leaving the same time usually. We usually got 3 in the engine and 2 or 3 in the truck. So we kind of use the truck as a backup line. The engine kind of pulls out their primary line, and that's very situation dependent. But we try to run as a true truck as possible, or we lay in for the engine. So that's how kind of we rerun our truck. It doesn't really pull the initial line off ours. So
yeah, in St. Louis we have we got a lot of strong chiefs, and we've just promoted a ton of people the last year or so. So training's been the top priority, both from the administration with our new mayor and putting money and effort into it. So, and all the new promotions and the strong chiefs, like we have a lot of that stuff worked out with the companies around us. Like as it sits now, before they put the hook and ladder in my battalion, we're surrounded by engine companies. So if it's not really close to the firehouse and we're not dispatched first, we're taking truck work, even if we're third, where the SOGs say, it's supposed to be the second in company. Well, we kind of changed that. It's not in the SOGs, it's just common sense. And what the chiefs want, that if a truck's on the heels, let them take truck work because they got the aerial, and then let the engines do backup water. As far as if we're first and the lines come off our truck, like I said, the companies can use our aerial or our tools. but we get our own water supplies. Even the engines, everyone gets their own water supply first in.
Yeah.
And then the third in engine company takes backup water. So instead of having the backup line coming off a different apparatus, I know some departments run it that way. We just do a second supply, reverse laid to where they're on the plug. So if the first in's pump goes down or whatever, we have that safety net of the second water supply.
Yeah.
But we're blessed in St. Louis. We got a lot of plugs, a lot of hydrants, every 300 feet. Who knows how many thousands of them are. I know it sucks every year when we got to check them all, but there's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're lucky our water department checks ours, so
Yeah.
we just gotta do fire inspections. So
Yeah. We got hydrant testing and hose testing. One's in the spring,
Yeah.
one's in the fall.
Oh,
So hydrant testing sometimes starts in like August, and you're like, oh, that's not the fall. So
right.
awesome. Keep it on the kind of same topic. What, in your opinion, do you think drives a truck culture?
I believe truck culture should be search culture. The most important thing that truck companies do, in my opinion, is go places any other profession can't, and looks for people in places they shouldn't be. And we're equipped to go in there. If we get in there and we can search everything that's searchable for us, I think like most people that are really into it, I mean, I'm not I don't like the whole victim profiling, like in the aspect of me standing on the outside, say, oh, there's not a chance there's not a lot, they're alive in there because fire's coming out of every window. Well, we found kids in closets before that were untouched. Like our job, the engine's job is to take back space, and the truck company's job, whether you're on a Quint, a dedicated truck company or a rescue company, however you arrive, is to go in there and search those spaces and get the people out and get them in the hands of EMS and give them every chance to survive. So to me, I think a strong truck company or truck culture in a department is hand in hand with a strong search culture, because St. Louis, Kansas City, I have friends up there, Chicago, friends up there. We're big on roof ops, but for the most of the country, I don't think that's a smart use of resources when you're running limited resources. I think
Yeah.
the better use for the earlier arriving companies is to get in there and search those spaces. Our gear is so good now. The engine companies, especially in St. Louis, are so good that we're taking back space and getting people in there quicker than ever before. So if you can push being good at searches, I think the rest of the truck skills come along with that, because the fastest way to get people in some of these modern buildings to search is to throw ladders and get in the windows.
Yep.
So I think if you focus on the search part of our job, the rest of the truck skills tend to take care of themselves, maybe with the exception of vertical ventilation.
Yeah. Yeah, we prioritize that search because we're limited staff before that vertical vent, so we occupy all the spaces that we can in the first 5 minutes. Then if our incoming crews will take the roof, if we have the personnel to do it, but we don't prioritize it.
No. Yeah, I'd like kind of going back to what you said about that searchable, survivable. Like, I think that is really got footing and it's much more accepted. But when it used to be that whole profiling, like the searchable for survival, oh, no one survived, like it's searchable space or not. And it's, can you occupy that space with your gear, with the nozzle, your training, whatever, like not just sitting there and going no one's out. I mean, there's so many stories that have been out that I think that's starting to be driven in. I don't know. I've experienced it, and maybe it's only because when we go to these trainings, that's what everyone's in, that same mindset that everyone hates the term survivable space. But I feel like you just can't ignore the results, the situations anymore, the people that survive these unsurvivable conditions. Like you need to prioritize getting in there and taking back as much space as you can.
Absolutely. And, other people have said this, I'm a firm believer, everything I say in this podcast, everything I teach, nobody's really making up new stuff in the fire service.
Mhm.
So if I say something and people want to use it, we don't have to give credit. No one's making up new terms. I mean, they kind of are, but
Yeah.
if you research back far enough, it was in a book, 70 years ago in a different term. But um, everything I've learned is from senior man mentors and instructors that came before me. Um,
Mhm.
the fire service will be great after I retire. It was great before I started. I don't think that's going to change for any of us. So share it all. But the reason I go on that tangent, and I'm not the only person to say this, the two things I hate most that I try and avoid hearing or saying on the radio is we have a bystander report of all clear of the building, or all occupants accounted for, and nothing showing. Those are the
Mhm.
two things. Standalone. You have to say nothing showing, but nothing showing at this time, nothing showing from side A, or,
Yep.
on a high rise, you could say nothing showing. Well, I only saw one side of the building in a
Right.
building that's designed to have the windows be stronger and be intact. So
Yeah.
there's plenty of decent high rise fires where you have nothing showing when we first get there. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes people stand down. It deprioritizes the search. So
Yeah.
I try and avoid saying any report of all clear. I try and avoid, we have a lot of vacants. It's part of our size up. I try and avoid saying vacant. If
Mm-hmm.
it's if it's collapsed and dilapidated, I'll say abandoned because that's what our
Yep.
policy says. But
Mhm.
I treat every building like it's occupied until we
Mm-hmm.
say so. And I think some of that stuff on the radio, um, it gets people to stand down a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
everyone's in a rush to get there. So I get, if you don't for sure have a working fire, you want to put, nothing showing at this time. Um, but when you put that over the radio, guys maybe slow down a little bit or don't
Yeah.
grab all their tools. They're not going through their normal checklist. They're
Mm-hmm.
uh, okay. Now I'm going to run in and get to the fire and start opening it up, and I'm not going to search. And how many times have we been on these fires, or you read stories to where uh, so and so forgot that Timmy's spending the night from
Yep.
because that's not their normal routine,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
or uh, conversely, you've had it the opposite where firefighters have been killed or seriously injured when parents like my kids in there, well, they don't
Mm-hmm.
know the kids got out the back of the house.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we go in and we push hard and guys get hurt thinking people are in there. If we just approached everything the same, like people are in there
Mhm.
or in their space we got to get to, and then you evaluate the building like, okay, well, it doesn't make much sense to push on this one because the building's compromised.
Mm-hmm.
But we've even had it where the buildings are compromised and a company, kicks in a door and pulls someone out of the hallway, or we have a,
Yep.
a homeless person in the front room and on the top story, the roof's off. Like,
Mm.
so even
Absolutely.
in St. Louis, most areas I've ever worked, even if we're going defensive, guys will pop a window, force a door, look in with the tick. And if there's a opportunity to get in there real quick and secure it or search it or make sure no one's in there, we'll take that risk
Yeah.
in a calculated manner to
Absolutely.
search what we can.
I
I
like
think the
that a lot.
same idea goes for fire alarms too. I know a lot of people are like, ah, it's just another fucking fire alarm, but that fire alarm could be something fire. I only had a couple times in my career so far. I go to a fire alarm, so I was just bullshit to go to fire alarms 5 times a week here, but it was actually something. And actually running a fire alarm like you would in a normal smoke showing,
Mm-hmm.
just having the same mindset going into it, um, will help in reducing those injuries that you're just off your guard once you get there.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that problem with the fire alarms because obviously a big city, we run
Yeah.
a lot of fire alarms. Um, and this was before I came on, but something that's kind of helped that, in my opinion, is we run the first company urgent and everyone else is on the quiet. So instead of the same three companies, the downtown companies, the midtown companies who would go on, sometimes 8, 10 automatic alarms a day,
Mm-hmm.
only the first is running urgent and the other companies are on the quiet. So it kind of spreads the workload of putting all your stuff on, grabbing your tools, grabbing your high rise packs if it's a high rise, to where it's at least a rotating
Yeah.
thing to where the first is
Yeah.
urgent, they treat it like a real fire. Or if, they decide not to take their high rise packs or whatever, it's kind of worked out that the second company will bring them. The first takes truck tools and investigates. So that's kind of made it a little better. But
Hmm. Yeah.
I would be a liar if I didn't say we've all been caught,
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
automatic alarms and
Yeah.
you don't have the stuff you should have. And I get it. It's a hard habit to break when you're on your last day of the cycle and you're 17 runs deep and
Yep.
I had one time at the 17s where it was the fifth time we went to the building that day and the fifth time was actually a fire.
Oh, it always
That
works out
was the
like
last
that.
one.
Yeah. And you think that would be the one time I got caught in my career? No, I was caught after that. So slow learner.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, kind of speaking of mistakes and learning from them, what is one mistake that you commonly see young firefighters make?
One mistake, young firefighter. I think the number one issue in the fire service, and I went through this myself, is people want to move up too quickly. I don't want to say they're entitled. Some of these young guys work their ass off. They take a lot of classes. They're into it. Um, I just went through the transition myself, and I think people want to move up and move to jobs or promote into positions before they've mastered the one they're at.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to fix it, other than, and I get it, like on our job, especially, there is a significant pay difference between a firefighter and an officer's once you start moving up. It's a
Mhm.
shame that it's that way. That's kind of how the city's operated because we have the same pay matrix as the police department, and the higher ups in the department have done a good job of negotiating for higher raises. And
Mhm.
I wish that gap wasn't there because it pushes people to want to promote quicker
Yeah.
before they've truly mastered being a firefighter or mastered being a driver. And once you move up, it's not just about yourself anymore. It's about the group of people that you are supposed to lead. And yeah, that and I'm as guilty as anyone of this one. Uh, and the cell phones, like the I tell we got a new guy now on probation and he's doing great. But I basically tell him, hey, your phone better not be out when we're driving around, to and from runs, going to the store, out training. Like you need to
Mhm.
be looking at buildings. You need to be paying attention to stuff. Um, and I get it, man. I've social media reading stuff. I'm probably on my phone way too much as most of us are in this day and age. But on the truck, we need to be paying attention to our still and learning as much as we can, especially your first 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. That's, I think, something that we all know is going to get worse. But even you look at, I know, Brennan, we've talked about, you see the departments where you put in the bunk rooms and stuff, and it's those individualized rooms. Like, you start bringing all these kinds of new age isolation, which, oh, it's so nice you get your own room, but all of a sudden then people are ending up in their rooms instead of in the chairs watching TV together. Did the kitchen tables, a lot of people looking at their phones instead of talking and solving the world's problems like we all know we do. Like, it's, we're all, like you say, you're guilty of it, I'm guilty of it. It's just the new age. But if we can we can keep it in mind a little more and limit it when we can, it's going to make things a lot better.
Mhm.
So my nephew, he's 19, getting ready to be turn 20 in the fall, and he just actually today he signed out to take his paramedic test. So
Nice.
Oh.
go figure, he's my blood and he's going into the fire service. But he was telling his dad, man, he's been doing some rides at an ambulance based like non-fire. So he's like, they let me wear my slides, and they said I could bring in my Xbox and all that. I'm like, John and I, my brother, are both like, whoa, slow your roll. Like, you're not going to do that. Like, you got way too much to learn. And,
Yep.
everyone wants to jump to it. I get it, but technology's cool, and the games are cool and phones are cool. But, and with the new guys, I think you got to have, maybe no phones at dinner, no phones till noon, And I'm not being unreal. Like, our new guy's got a pregnant wife. So I would never say, hey, leave your phone in your locker until 5 p.m. I would never do
Yeah.
that. But,
Yeah.
if you have strong senior members, like I have strong senior men that had to step up because the job's getting young, and you kind of lay out the expectation. Like when they're driving around, we're quizzing them on buildings, and their phone's not down or are not up, and we're paying attention, and you set the standard that the men will follow. So
Absolutely. I think it's kind of funny because we've noticed it as well, just that new age difference. When you mentioned like the Xbox, like it's kind of now a new way that you can hang out with the crew though, and doing that in terms of our younger guys. I mean, myself, I got a system too that I bring in, and like we at night, if we all winding down, like it used to be watch movies, and we still, our crew does try and do some movie nights, and it's usually a good time. But when we got people out there, we'll put up PGA, we'll put up NBA, and like we'll all be playing it at least together and not go into just the little corners and everyone playing by themselves. Like we try and make it a kind of group thing still. And I think that's probably the only happy medium that we're going to get as things progress. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of accepting it, but yeah, it's kind of, it's different.
And I do want to be clear. I get it. I'm an old school gamer myself. Like I'm one of them dads now that I could have gone pro in Call of Duty back in the day. So like I'm not against it, but we did it too. We did it at the 29s when I was there, in Rescue 2, and we would always wait till the evening when the work's done and it's our time. To think you should, in today's day and age, come in and just, I'm in my slides, which I'm for slides too. I'm a Crocs guy. That's my generation.
Yep.
But, not during the day, not in public eyes, and not, when there's work to be done or training to be done, or you're a new person. And
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, let's be real. The members on probation should have different rights than members that are, off probation and have proved their worth.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely something that has changed as well, because you see it's a lot more, and most of it for the good, but it's not as much of a separation anymore. But then you see when it goes too far the other way, and someone, they don't feel like they're being challenged at all. They show up in their slides, they rack out at 10 o'clock, and you're looking around for them like, where the fuck is? And it's like, oh yeah, he went and laid down. What? Like,
that's the dude I find you give him more responsibility. You ask him to, because usually it's a person that's either burnt out or got a little bit of time on, and that's the one when you pull them aside, in my opinion, and like, hey, I need you to step up and teach you this, or I need you to do that. And a lot of times you can change their attitude without being the asshole, like coming in and being like, hey, you shouldn't have your slides. Well, if you give them the responsibility, hey, I need you to teach these guys XYZ, it usually, from my limited experience, will get people motivated, get them back on task to, I don't have to do it all. We should all want to do it. And if you find people's strengths and then have them teach driver operations and pump operations to the new guys, and it gives them purpose again, and it reminds them why they got in this job in the first place. Because the majority of the people in every fire department in this country that I've been around, St. Louis too, want to do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And either the department, their training staff, their officers over the years failed them and lost them along the way. Like, we can get most of them back. Now, there's some people that just need to go and they usually take care of themselves, from my experience. But most people want to do a good job. They just haven't been shown the way. So it's
Right.
up to us, the people into the
Absolutely.
job, to show them the way, the right way.
Yeah. Something cool that we do on our shift. My captain, he's like, hey, or he lays out a whole month, and every day we work, someone new teaches their topic of that day. So my day was the other day, and I taught, or what did I teach? We learned a new drill at Great Lakes for RIT is putting a down firefighter. They're laying limp, and you got to put their pack back on blindfolded. There's a quick drill at night we did. That gives everyone an opportunity to teach what they want to teach, like what you're good at, like Shugs. He's type 1 diabetic. We call him Shugs. He loves forcible entry. So he was teaching forcible entry the other day. And it just goes down the list, even to the probie. Hey, you teach us something. Like, take a tool out of the truck and teach us about it. I think that really gets the crew engaged and kind of keeps the responsibility of everyone teaching each other stuff, except just the captain or lieutenant teaching something.
Yeah, that's the approach I've tried to take as quote unquote a boss. Is I told the guys we had coming in, um, we had the guys on the crew at the time, hey, we get a new guy coming in. It's your new guy. It's
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah,
my new
I like
guy.
that. I like
You
that.
have to work with them every day. And the Nick and Erbacher, and Malik have stepped up to help our new guy tremendously. Malik's our driver, so he goes over the truck with them every day. Nick's huge into training, and so is Erbacher. And I don't have to do much except evaluate it at the end and go out and quiz. And they're all in. I mean, they're
That's
rocking
awesome.
it out. Um, and I couldn't be happier with the guys I'm working with right now. They're top notch. I just
Awesome.
come in and, hey, how did go when I was off, or how'd this go? I've been off a lot this summer. So when I come in, how's this going? How's that going? And they're rocking it out. I couldn't be happier.
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
Makes your job a lot easier here, good crew.
Yeah. Oh, I'm blessed. So,
Awesome. All right, so we got some like generic questions we ask everybody. The first one, you don't get no context. You just kind of answer how you want. But it is, why are we here?
uh, the fire department in specific is here to put out fires and rescue people. We're the only profession that the citizens have no choice on what they get. Like, and I mean, profession, volunteer, and paid. You can be a professional volunteer department and you can be an unprofessional paid department. We've all seen examples of that. But my point being is, if you got money and you don't like the police, you can hire private security. If you don't want to call a 911 based EMS organization, you can go online and have a private ambulance come to your house if you're willing to pay. You have your choice of plumbers, you have your choice of electricians, mechanics. You do not have a choice on your fire department. And we are here to be the best at putting out fires and rescuing people, in my mind.
I like that. Awesome. I like that. First time I
Absolutely.
hear that way. It's cool. Second one. Looking back, what advice would you have given yourself when you started?
Uh, well, I would be a pretty big hypocrite if I didn't say this. And it just worked out in this way in my career. But I would, don't be in a rush. The job flies by, but you're gonna have so many opportunities in this job to do whatever you want to do. and that's based on the effort you put in. So don't be in a rush to get to the rescue squad. Don't be in a rush to promote. Don't be in a rush to get to a hook and ladder or get on the specialty teams. And I'm not saying I was or wasn't, but that's probably, man, if you try and do the right thing, I always try and do the right thing for the people around me. Not necessarily always what's best for myself, whether it's speaking up against something or, yeah, I always try and do what's best for the team. And I've done that my whole career, and it's paid off, and there's just a lot of speed bumps along the way. But man, if you try and do the right thing, you'll get to do so much cool stuff in this job, like stuff I never imagined. I didn't think I'd be on, Missouri Task Force One going all across the country for emergencies. I didn't think I'd get involved and have a chance to teach at FDIC or teach with engine house training or O'Byrne fire ground training or TTRS, teach and rescue stuff all across the state of Missouri. Like, man, all these opportunities fell in my lap just by trying to do the right thing.
That's awesome.
That's cool. All right. What is the best way to pass on knowledge in the firehouse?
I think passing on knowledge, training, I think two things. Debrief, hot wash, at least at the company level, if not greater after every legit incident like rescue or fire. We always did that, with everywhere I've worked, at least at the company level. I think that's one. And then I have not always been good with this because I'm into the job. I'll come and I'll train for 6 hours. It doesn't bug me.
Yeah.
Most people are not that way,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I don't need you to be me or big, ate up into the job 24/7. We call them fire fruits in St. Louis. I don't need everyone to be a fire fruit. I don't need everyone to be a fire fruit, but what we need is people that are into the job when they're at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best way to pass on knowledge, I have found through trial and error and having buddies, Johnny, our driver on Rescue 2, like, well, if everyone doesn't want to train for 6 hours, but the way I found best is little short segments throughout the day, 10, 15-minute training sessions, asking questions about a building or, once we get on medical runs and the guys are doing their thing and everything's safe, I'll kind of step back, wait for the medic unit, and I'll do like 360s in the building. Several times now they make fun of me because I like find other runs to call in, like find wires down or whatever, like in the backyard or, some sort of hazard that we call in after. But I'll see that stuff. And then when we get the patient taken care of and in the medic unit and they're gone, like we still have access to the property or whatever, I'll tell the guys do a 360 and then see what they see and if they catch it. Stuff like that, man. And ask a quick question about a run at dinner. And then 20 minutes later, you're talking something related.
Yeah.
The other thing, this was kind of when it was the old crew when I first got there. I checked the truck every day, and if something was suspicious or I didn't think was right, well, okay, we're training on that today. So as soon as the morning routine's done and we go out, like, hey, let's find a building, throw the 35-foot ladder, and then we get the 35-foot ladder out and the halyard's messed up. Well, I think that teaches. Well, now those guys are going to pay attention to that every morning now.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to sit down and doing stuff for hours on end, which, like I said, I have had a hard time with that in the past, just do some 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time, 3 to 5 times throughout the shift. And the training hours really start to stack up. Everything doesn't have to be super complex. Go down to the training academy and XYZ. So,
Right.
Absolutely.
Kind of the last question, this question came in. I think it was a comment on your Facebook thing. It was from Emmy. He said, "What's your favorite Filipino food?"
Oh, well, that's one of my non-fire best friends from high school wife, and she makes lumpia. So I don't know. It's Filipino egg rolls. Those things are addictive.
Ooh.
They're like bite-sized though, so
Oh,
they'll get you in trouble. And then she makes like a. They can't be good for you, but they are delicious. Like a Asian deep fried rib.
Oh,
oh.
And I'll tell
that
you what,
sounds.
until you have them, you haven't lived. So I
Right.
wouldn't want to eat them every day, but they're pretty good. So
I
I'd
think
have to
you
pick those two.
Bryce, you can win your rib contest for eating
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Something different.
I
Awesome.
don't I don't know how she I don't know how she makes them, and truthfully, I don't want to know because I'm already a big enough dude, and if I could make them, I'd probably make them every day. So
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
Well, kind of like Brendan said, that wraps up most of the questions that we have. Now is the last part, the one that every one of our guests loves, and that's the question from our previous guest, and then you have to come up with a question for our next guest. So before we go into the question that was asked of you, our next guest will be Logan Hinkle, young guy, passionate guy, into the job. He's a captain of EMS, I believe is his title, and he also started his own training company within the last few years. So he'll be our next guest on, so you can start thinking about stuff there. But the question that we have from our previous one is talk about your feelings on searching ahead of the line with a can, or do you search with a line on an engine?
uh, I think with modern gear, training techniques, thermal imaging cameras, if you're not searching ahead of, above, or adjacent to an attack line, you're doing your citizens a huge disservice. Borderline cowardice, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
We are more equipped than ever before. We have more training information than ever before. Um, the line is just too slow. It is not fast enough. Don't get me wrong, we have great engines. It's not a knock on the engine people. There's so much nozzle forward, good stuff out
Yep.
there that we're putting lines in place quicker than ever before. Also because of the gear and equipment we have. Um, but if you're not trying to, if you try to do a search with the line versus no line, they're hands down the fastest way to get in there is not have a hose line. Um,
Absolutely.
it comes with training, trust, a mutual respect between the people on the line, and we all have them, right? I've been to fires to go floor above or in front of the line, and you look and you're like, that crew's got me. They'll be in the burn unit before they leave me hanging.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at people and you'll be like, maybe I'll split off a guy to go with them, or see if the rescue's got a spare guy to put on the line to make sure it goes to the right place. So
Yeah.
you got to do it. I don't see. We know that time is a killer more than ever before because of the smoke and the byproducts of what's burning. We cannot do anything that slows us down from getting to the searchable spaces and finding if people are there or not.
Absolutely.
I like
I
that.
think searching with a line is an opportunity. It shouldn't be your plan. Like if you got the line and you're moving, you're going to the fire room, and it's like, oh shit, there's a guy. Like you should kick off a little bit there. Like, but it should not be a hey, grab that line and go search the building. Like,
Yeah, that's not a primary search. That's
yeah,
searching for fire and they come across the victim, which
mm-hmm.
happens probably more than the latter.
Yeah,
Mhm.
A lot most rescue, right? Because where's the line going? The most common path traveled to the fire. Where
mm-hmm.
do people go? The most common path they're used to using every time, and
Mm-hmm.
usually they
Yep.
intersect. Well, with that being said, you got to have a plan for that. Like
Mm-hmm.
we drill it with our, and I'm sure I stole this from Smooth Bar Cartel and all that. Like we drill that. Like our guys know, the guys on my company know. If you come across a victim, crawl over them and turn on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever direction you think the fire is, don't shut it off because you're
Mhm.
bringing fresh air in down low.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll work on getting the victim out because I'm usually in the backup position until our water supply guy gets in there. And I'll start getting the victim to the door. And when I run into a truck guy or whatever, I'll hand off the victim. right?
Yep.
Because I get back to my person, and I'm a huge, I'm a huge believer in handing off victims and continuing the search if you can. Everybody's going to know at the end of the day who pulled who out, but then you're not starting from scratch. I have a retired battalion chief. He was my captain at the time. Was Mike Corson. He taught us that very very early in our career. Hand off the victims and go do your thing. And then as you are going to be on a hose line, have a plan in place for if you find a victim, because it's going to happen sooner or later. And then the last thing for the new guys, I make sure, or anyone that's riding on the nozzle position, we call it lead off, with me, is you never need my permission to open the nozzle,
Mm-hmm.
right? I could always tell you to shut it off. I could always dry shit out, like Kurt says, but I can't unburn you. And it's a travesty that some departments are still teaching, the penciling and
Yeah.
all that in their drill towers, because that shit doesn't work in real life. And guys don't know, like we still run into old school guys or guys, even young captains that were just taught wrong. Or I don't want to say taught wrong. That's how it was back even when I came on, but the science has disproven that and the fires are different. Like, if you're hot or you think it's hot, you're not really hurting much by opening the nozzle. So you do not need the officer's permission to open the nozzle. You do not need to see fire to open the nozzle. If ideally we train them to understand the conditions on when to not or when, but if you don't have that experience or they're unsure, open the nozzle. I'd always crawl up there and say, shut it down. What are you doing? We're 2 rooms away. Like, you don't need to yet. But if you're unsure, put water in the environment. You're not really
Absolutely.
hurting things.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, insurance.
Buildings are total loss anyways. And it's nowadays with the stuff that's burning. I mean, even your room and contents is damn near ruining a residential structure. Like the people are like,
sure.
you're gonna hurt it with the water damage. Like if you have, it's not hurting it at all. You're making your situation better, and you're not saving the homeowner any money. Like that's not what you should be thinking of.
Yeah, and we're aggressive, but we don't want to be reckless.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
So like,
absolutely.
it's the same thing, because we were working. There's some areas of St. Louis that are pretty rough, and they don't have a ton of money. A lot of them don't have insurance. We had a tornado a little over a year ago. We're dealing with that mess now. So I mean, I don't want to destroy all their belongings and structures. And anyone that's worked in St. Louis long enough, you'll have a fire and you'll see people living in other parts of the house. Sometimes that night, because they got nowhere else to go. But so I don't want to be. I want to be aggressive. I don't want to be reckless, and I want to overhaul or ventilate the windows I need to, and then open the ones I don't need to. We don't need to break everything, but we certainly shouldn't have newer members on the nozzle scared to open the nozzle because they don't see fire or being unsure on when to open it. So I'm all for aggressiveness, but we also need to know what we're doing and have the reason around it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like that.
Last thing we've got is the question that you have to ask Logan. So, and you got some time to think on it, maybe even a little more than you have. What question do you want us to ask him?
I just like I kind of looked up his stuff when you told me who was next, and I don't know Logan. Seems like a good dude. I'd like to know, compare and contrast, or hear him compare and contrast the when he's teaching truck work for like an urban environment versus suburban environment. And I'll follow up and listen, because we actually do a class with Engine House, very similar. So I'd be curious. I was fortunate enough to spend, about 9 years of my career in the suburban and rural environment. So I got a pretty good handle on that, but that was, 17 plus years ago.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see what's changed, because like when I was at those departments, they've since changed. We never searched without a hose line.
Yeah.
Like we always, and that was the thing back then. And I got to St. Louis and my first fire doing search without a hose line. I got lost in a closet and my captain had to come pull me out because I was so used to having that umbilical. And now I actually prefer to not have the hose line. I pay
Yeah.
more attention to where I'm at in the building, you
Absolutely.
know,
Yeah.
and statistics back that up, right? There's a lot of maydays of people that were just humping hose lines and then just lose the hose line. Well, they weren't doing their room orientated search or counting
Hmm.
corners or any of the little tricks that we do when you're searching without a line. So it's a skill set every firefighter should have, in my opinion. Not to go off on
Absolutely.
another tangent.
No, it's it's perfect. But absolutely, dude. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on, taking the time out of your nice trip to the lake. We really appreciate taking the time, sharing the knowledge that you have. Um, and yeah, the last part we have here is the kitchen table. If there's anything last that you want to shout out, anybody you want to shout out, trainings, right before we wrap up, floor is yours.
Well, I kind of did it, but the St. Louis Fire Department, obviously, first and foremost, I love the members. They've given me a tremendous amount of opportunity and headaches along the way. But I taught 7 academy classes, so the group, the cadre of the academy instructors we've built over the years, and including doing hands-on training now department wide. Those guys are top notch. Engine house training gave me my start in teaching with Jason Hovelman and all those guys separate outside the fire department. Um, got picked up by O'Byrne Fire Ground Training, Chad Daly, those guys, Paul out of
Hmm.
Those
Kansas
guys.
City. They're top notch. They're lifelong friends now. And then technical rescue training out of um, St. Louis County. Those are a bunch of guys that we teach all the tech rescue stuff all over the state. Most of us are in Missouri Task Force One together, and then the Fools, Muddy River Fools. Those are all
Absolutely.
organizations that equally proud of to be a part of as I am the St. Louis Fire Department. And probably most importantly is my wife and kids. My wife just
Absolutely.
turned 40. That's why we were at the lake. I got a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old, and my wife and I just celebrated our 13th year anniversary, I believe, and
Nice.
I can't believe she's put up with it that this long because I'm kind of ate up with the fire service, and I don't half-ass anything. So when I'm in, I'm in. So
Awesome.
Absolutely.
I'm sure I forgot some people along the way, but the big thing I want to touch on, I've been involved with a line of duty death and a successful RIT rescue.
Hmm.
Ben Polson, you can look him up. It was January 13th of 2022. And another guy, Justin, this year. And the differences between the two scenes were very, very apparent. Fortunately, with Justin, we had just wrapped up department wide RIT training like the week before that happened. So which was pushed by the Polson line of duty death after the reports came out and everything by the members, pushing it up the chain of command. The department agreed, facilitated it, paid overtime for instructors to come in off duty, and it made a difference. So the two
Absolutely.
messages I like to point out with those incidents are, man, you don't think it's going to happen in your career, and then it does, and then it happens
Yeah.
twice.
Hmm.
I would pay attention to all that safety and survival, all that RIT training. Hopefully, everyone goes through their career, never has to deal with it. That's certainly what I thought, but the crew I was on at the time on Rescue 2, we trained that every cycle. We trained some sort of firefighter rescue. We had plans, and we were ultimately able to recover our brother and bring him out. And then that group was also a big part of the group with Cody Carpenter, pushing to do the department-wide training that we got done, and it makes a difference. And
Awesome.
hopefully no one's ever in that situation, but you should prepare every day like you could be, because man, it happens.
Yeah,
Despite what we
absolutely.
think, it happens. And I'll tell you what saved Justin, talking to our one of the things that saved Justin is he checked his bottle that morning and it was a little low. And when after he checked it, he put a new bottle in because it was just a little low.
Mhm.
Well, he didn't have but like 5 or 10 breaths left based off how he was breathing and the reports of the air pack when we were able to free him from the collapse he was in. So
Wow.
if you don't
Makes a
think
difference.
the little details matter in this job, you're in the wrong profession.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. Wow.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for the message. Thank you for all the knowledge that you dropped in this last hour. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in, watching. Huge thank you to everybody that sent in questions. We appreciate it. Any way you want to send in questions, do it. If you know us personally, you want to text us, you want to message us on Facebook, comment on the post, email, website. If you got a question for a guest we got, send it in. We love to share them. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Jeff, thank you for taking the time out of the beautiful lake day that you're having to share some of this stuff. And as always, don't be a shitbag.
Thanks for coming on, Jeff. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, don't be a shitbum.
shitbag.
Yeah. we